Tavis Smiley, that was the video, as you well know, done by Treach and Naughty by Nature in memory of the late Tupac Shakur. We are talking tonight about the last days of his life, Tupac's life, and his legacy with our guest, Frank Alexander, author of a new book entitled Got Your Back, The Life of a Bodyguard in the Hardcore World of Gangster Rap. Also pleased tonight to be joined by, speaking of Treach of Naughty by Nature, Tupac's friend, and of course Robert Marriott, founding editor of XXL Magazine and a contributor of Rap Pages, and the last person to interview Tupac Shakur. Frank, one of the things that I recall Reverend Al Sharpton saying upon the death of Tupac, as you know, Reverend Sharpton spent a lot of time with Tupac. He was incarcerated in New York. Spent a lot of time with him then, and I recall him saying that he was disappointed in how the media depicted Tupac, that the way the media depicted him after his death was not indicative of what Tupac was all about. You think that's a fair criticism of the media?
That's about the way the media plays their game, period. You know, Pac was a very outspoken person, and he put it down the way he put it down. And the media would turn him around, period. You know.
Robert, what do you think? What most impressed you? I don't know if "impressed" is the right word, but what most sticks out in your mind about the last interview? It's I don't know what position that kind of made you feel like you were in. Looking back on it and realizing it was the last interview that Tupac would ever give. But what stands out in your mind about that last interview with him?
I mean, honestly, what most stands out is that after we finished talking and he had kind of like gone through everything he had been thinking about recently. He played me the Machiavelli album. He was very excited about that. He was saying that he was laying it down. He basically talked about who shot him, talked about everybody he had beef with, and was uncoded, said it straight out, and then talked about, you know, that in 5 years, by the year 2000, he was planning to really enter politics in a real way. That one of the things he realized and recognized is that in this, like, you know, so-called beef between East and West, he really saw how much power and influence he had over, you know, he had numbers, you know, real numbers, not just selling albums, but he had influence over them, and he was really planning to use that.
I want to talk more about that alleged East-West conflict in just a moment. Treach, I want to come back to you, though, because Robert raises this issue of this last album, Machiavelli. There are a lot of folk, as you well know, who thought, and still do, think that Tupac was obsessed with his death. That last album title and many of the things that Robert alluded to earlier, talking about his death and who shot him, etc., etc. A lot of folk who believe that Tupac was obsessed with his death. You know as well as I do that there are a lot of folk, because of that, were swirling those rumors around, repeating those rumors, you know, for days and days that Tupac was still alive because of the title of that album, Machiavelli. Do you think it's a fair assessment to say that Tupac was obsessed with his own death?
It wasn't so. You gotta realize something. Once you go somewhere, man, you put so much love in somebody, like everybody here. If I'm with y'all and I got love for y'all, I'll invite y'all to my studio session, or y'all invite me to a studio session y'all doing. And I got the love for y'all like that. And I go up in there, I handle business, and I get shot in a lobby. And I come up, whatever the situations is up after that, I only tell you what I seen, what I went through. I got a call, my homie got shot. I went to the hospital that next day, that morning. As soon as I heard it, I went straight to the hospital. I didn't see nobody who was in that studio, you know what I mean, who's supposed to have been together with that. When I went there, I seen his mother, I seen his family, I seen the FOI. And I'm walking through, the first thing go through my mind is, where is everybody who's supposed to be down with him? You know what I mean? So there's no obsession with that. Once you get that feeling like you betrayed, you gonna ride with that. You know what I mean? That's all I needed to know. That's all he needed to know.
But let me ask you respectfully, how does that reality, and I hear what you're saying, I feel you on that point, but how does that reality translate into the kinds of lyrics that he put out on that last album?
Let me tell you, once you get some bullets put up in you, you got a whole different mind state on everything. And you make it, you know what I mean? And you got the time to think. You know what I mean? The worst thing they could have done was lock Tupac up. Because he was a genius. That's right. He was a Black Panther baby. You know what I mean? He done seen all the trials and tribulations from his parents and that generation of the Panthers going on. Then he go through the same thing. He goes through all that drama. He gets shot up. And like I said, when I walked in our hospital, I didn't see no soldiers up in there but the FOI and his family.
Speaking of drama, Frank, let me ask you, I think Treach makes a legitimate point about one's life having to change, I suspect, once you go through that kind of ordeal. Let me ask you whether or not you were, whether it was clear to you in any significant sort of ways that his life, in fact, was changing, that he was a different kind of person after having gone through that ordeal.
Absolutely.
In what ways?
Pac was changing in a lot of ways. His whole perspective on things that he was doing, it was cleaning up his act. He was changing his attitude. He was serious about his work. He had started, working on the movie of Gridlock, and he was serious about it. There wasn't no joking, wasn't no plan. He was never late. He was putting it down. He was changing. He was doing some positive things. You know, you asked me last about the media. That's part of it. They didn't show the positive things that Pac was doing.
Hanging out with this guy, not just hanging out with him. I don't want to do any disrespect to your profession as a bodyguard. That's serious business. But spending as much time with Tupac as you did you ever get the sense that he was a marked man? That somebody was out to get him?
Yes, he was. You got to look at it like this also. Pac was very controversial, and he was putting out lyrics that other people couldn't probably relate to and deal with. And I used the song "Hit 'Em Up." You know, that was a very powerful message that he was putting out through that those lyrics there, and pretty much threats, if you want to call it that. So he was very controversial. You got to
realize, man, this man here, man, before he was conceived, he was in jail. Feeny was locked up while she was pregnant with this man. You know what I mean? He had all this anger for politics, for the system alone within him. You know what I mean? And when he came out, it was like everybody got a misconception about Pac. He showed love to everybody he met. I don't care who they was, where they was from. East Coast, West Coast, wherever. You know what I mean? We had in Morning Till I Join You, damn, I wish they would have known how much you love New York. And then after he passed, it was like, I wish he would have seen how much New York loved him. Not the politic part of it, but the streets.
That's real.
You know what I mean? Uptown, Machiavelli Part 2, Gotti, all them thugs uptown, Queens, Brooklyn. You know what I mean? I can't even name them all that had love for Pac, that he didn't get a chance to see. You know what I mean? But the whole point is like, he done had he would give everything. If he had $20 on a line and homies needed it, he'd walk out with $1. Everybody else will have 19, and we'll spread and we'll all roll together.
Let me jump in right quick, Treach. I hate to cut you off. Take a break here. We'll come back and talk more about that. Boy, you're on the air, and I'm glad you called.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
I just wanted to call and say that Tupac was a great asset to our community. We loved his music. He was a great poet and lyricist. We thank him, and there will be and never, ever be another Tupac. I agree with you, Treach. We loved him so much, and we just wanted to give special love out to him, and I'm so glad I got to talk to you guys.
Mia, thank you for your phone call from Illinois. Treach, let me go back to something that we were talking about actually during the commercial breaks. I've said 1,000 times on this show that sometimes the best part of this show happens in the commercial breaks. We were talking during the break about the fact that Tupac has not been, in your estimation, I'm paraphrasing you, correct me if I'm wrong, set me straight. We were talking about the fact that, in your estimation at least, Tupac has not been given the kinds of honors posthumously since his death, not been given the kinds of honors for having by the industry, for having the kind of impact that he had.
Hell no. I go out to LA, man, from before and during and after all the drama and everything. God rest his soul, Biggie. You hear him pumped in LA. You know what I mean? He's getting bumped.
Big time.
East Coast, getting bumped. You come on New York, it's not like that. You know what I mean? You get a couple of spins. You look at the award shows. Ain't no nominations for Pac. He outselling everybody, including us. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Let's put everything on the board right now. You know what I mean? He outselling everybody, been done it, still making records to this day. There's black market and outdoing everybody out there. And I see the award shows and I sit back and see he not getting a nomination, not an award, not nothing, not a tribute, not nothing. Tupac is a legend. He did what he had to do, and I know from the history of everything that went down with him, from Mama I Love You, Afeni, you know what I mean, and everything the Panthers done. But we know You know what I mean? What the reason is why he ain't getting his just due. They look at Pac, they want to name him as a troublemaker. You know what I mean? Like this. When you see the covers of magazines, East versus West, Pac didn't put that on there. Biggie didn't put that on there. That was the editors and everybody else who's running that, putting that East versus West on that. Then people on the street see it. They don't read articles.
I'm glad
they
you
see
said
the cover.
Trish, I'm glad you said that because I was about to pick up on that because I thought I was hearing something, and maybe any of you can add some light to this, shed some light on this. I thought I was hearing a couple of contradictory comments. The one comment is that we say out of one side of our mouth that there was no East-West conflict. That that Pac got love on the streets of New York, as did Biggie get love, and still does, for that matter, as you duly noted, on the streets of Los Angeles. So that's one reality. But the other reality is that, as you note, Treach, that Tupac is not getting airplay the way he should in New York, and yet Biggie is in Los Angeles. And doesn't that then say that on some level there was this hatred as opposed to respect and love between East and West?
If you don't travel outside of that immediate area, you know what I mean, you think whatever you hear on the radio is what's hitting all over the world.
That's right.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that's set up from the door. You know what I mean? Right now, it's more riders, I could say, in New York than basically anywhere for Pac. Putting it down.
That's real.
I done seen more West Side thrown up in New York than I done seen all over the country with Pac behind that. You know what I mean? So it ain't no way in the world you could tell me that the streets or the people in New York is not feeling Pac or wasn't feeling Pac. Right. That's the politics behind that.
Frank, do you think a lot of folk are missing the message of what Tupac's music was all about? I got about 30 seconds right quick in this segment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely they are. The message that Pac was putting out, the people are hearing it, but the media, like Treach was saying, is not giving it to him in New York. If the people on the streets are hearing it, how come everyone else is not putting it out in New York for him? How come he's not getting the awards? How come he's not getting the nomination?
Before I get back to our conversation, Treach, I neglected to tell you earlier, congratulations on that baby, man. You and Pep had the baby baby girl?
Baby girl, Egypt Shanari.
How's she doing?
She's real good. She gained a pound, 2 weeks. She's out the hospital. She's handling her business. She was healthy from the door, healthy now. Got my son, Tata. He's 8 now. He's all up in the taekwondo and like ain't nothing happening.
Taekwondo already, huh?
Ain't nothing happening, you know what I mean? Kiss out to my boo. Love you, and the baby is doing swell.
Congratulations on that. It took you to remind me during this last commercial break, as I said earlier in the show, sometimes the best information is dispensed. Treach is teaching class here during commercial breaks here. It took you to remind me of what Tupac's original name was. Before he became Tupac as we know him, he was called something else.
MC New York.
MC New York.
Wherever he was at, man, wherever he was at, he put it down for that period. You know what I mean? Period. When he threw up the West Side, it was homies like, what's all that? That's over there, man. Why I ain't even checking for that? When he was over here, MC New York, and he got out, and he was from the little rape charge and all that, I was with him when he was doing Above the Rim. There's people in the street, you got caught out there, whatever. Yo, that hurt him. That cut him down. He like, I done put everything I done had into everything over here, and my riders ain't riding with me. You know what I mean? My riders ain't riding. I'm going to the West Side now where they showing me love. When he came out to Jersey. He came out to Brick City, North, Illtown, New Jersey, EO, and he seen some whole new life on everything. He got up with the Outlaws and the Montclair, and he came out, he was like, listen, man, whoever riding with me, I'm with him for life, for death, for anything. He was the realest one. For anybody he felt for, he was riding with him no matter what. You know what I mean? It was no coast. It was no side, Midwest, down south, anywhere. Pac was riding with him.
Robert, one of the folks that he rode with for a long time was Suge Knight, CEO of Death Row Records, and I live in Los Angeles, and I'm hearing all over LA.
He's coming out.
That Suge, exactly, is coming out sometime in the very near future, we are told. Suge Knight coming out. What do you think might happen, in fact? It's kind of impossible to have a conversation about Tupac and not talk about Suge and not talk about Death Row Records. I don't want to color your answer in any way, but talk to me about Suge coming out and what that means.
Well, I mean, first I just want to say that one of the things that Tupac really did was create a new standard of valor for hip-hop in general. You know, as Treach said, he really proved to people exactly what you could do if you were courageous and would face anything, you know what I'm saying, on any level. As far as Suge is concerned, you know, we were just talking about it. He beat the state case. Now he's facing the Fed case that they put against him. So, you know, it's very likely that in the next few months, you know, he'll be set free.
You think Death Row's coming back?
I cannot put anything past Suge.
It's hard to bet against Suge, isn't it?
He knows how to do it.
Awfully hard to bet against Suge.
Can't bet against Suge.
Having said that, we have all placed our bets, and none of us are betting against Suge Knight. Josh in Michigan, thanks for holding. I'm glad you called. You're on the air.
All right, I'm with Treach on this one. Tupac was a legend. He was like Michael Jordan in rap. But where's all the money coming from? Where's the money going that the CDs are making now for Robert?
The money from the bootleg CDs?
Right. We know where that's not going.
Right. Yeah, that's going to the bootleggers.
But I mean, I think he raises the question, and I don't know that any of us know the answer. You may know, Treach. I mean, there are a lot of concerns, and his mother, Tupac Shakur, came on this program a year ago and talked about this, and there's no secret at all. We all know that there was some money issues and there were some problems. And I don't want to digress back into that, but I think the question he's getting to is whether or not any of us know about the money situation. Is Afeni doing better now? Was Tupac getting some respect? Is the money starting to flow? Are they getting paid for those albums? What's happening? Does anybody know anything?
I mean, from what I've seen on the outside as far as Moral Records, man, Are You Still Down? That sold 4 million straight off the bat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So one way or the other, it's going down. You know what I mean? We did our thing as far as with More On You. We was hoping, you know what I mean, everything come off. We was on a, you know, Tommy Boy, and, you know, we knew what type of label that was. But the whole point is, like, once we come out, do our thing, Mama is there, and she know where the love is with us, and whatever we get, she getting from us. You know what I mean? So she gonna be straight whether Amaro do this or that and the other. Once we get on board the way we really want to, man, it's there.
Frank, you got anything to the money situation?
I just spoke with Afeni a couple of nights ago, and she's still tied up in you know, probate. So everything on a legal standpoint is going to be tied up until that's settled.
Still kind of on hold.
Yeah, it's going to be on hold. Yeah, but other than that, you know, she's doing fine. She's a survivor, and she has to do what she has to do. Definitely a soldier. Definitely. She's got to do what she has to do until it's all done and over with.
Walter in California, thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Yeah, my comment was, you know, Tupac was a good rapper, actor, and, you know, all the above. But then there's the bad sides I see is, like, you know, how he would be more attacking, like, a lot of rappers and stuff that really didn't have no business of it was in his business. As far as I understand the situation with him and Biggie, what went down, and I felt what Treach was saying as far as, you know, if you felt somebody had you set up, you gonna rush them, you gonna attack them or whatever. But then you look at how people say, oh, the media portray Tupac to be this and that or whatever. But then you got to look at it. If you got the Lakers against the Bulls, who going to be the two icons? You're going to have, when Magic was playing, and Jordan. They're going to be the two icons. So the East and West was all about Biggie and Tupac. Those were the two icons. And that's what made it a really East and West thing.
Okay, let me get Treach to respond to that.
All right, you got the Lakers or the Bulls, and then you got somebody playing for the Knicks or Orlando. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing up in there, putting their opinion up in it. Mind your business. They ain't got nothing to do with that. Leave it alone. You know what I mean? Pac said, listen, I'm talking about certain individual, but I ride on all y'all. You know what I mean? If you're going to talk about something you don't know nothing about, you wasn't there the night he got set up, you wasn't there the first night he got shot, you wasn't there when he got, none of that. You know what I mean? Mind your business. Don't say nothing about it. You don't know nothing about what's going on in these streets. Leave it alone. If you ain't got nothing to do with it, mind your business. Once you say something about it, you put yourself into it, and you're going to get rolled on. Period.
Let me jump in here right quick. And I've asked this question before, I think, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago when we first did this show. It may have been a question that got me in some trouble then, but I'll reprise the question one more time. Robert, and I asked this question to you because you're the reporter amongst this round table tonight. one of the things that, and Treach is right, a lot of people have been commenting about stuff that they don't know anything about.
Mind your business.
But on a certain level, though, there were a lot of people who were around that night who did, in fact, see what went down that night.
Was none of them in the hospital that next day when I came and carried them?
But Treach, respectfully, there were a lot of people who were standing around that night when this thing went down, people who saw what happened. Nobody has come forth to say anything, which has made it very difficult, we are told, for the Las Vegas Police Department to crack this case. People standing around who saw something and didn't say anything.
Hey, it's a code to the streets, man. I'm telling you.
No snitching.
Ain't no dry snitching, ain't no snitching. Sun gonna go down, you gonna handle it on your own terms. You know what I mean? You talk to the police, ain't solved nothing. You in Vegas after a fight. I done been in Vegas. I don't know if any of y'all out there been to Vegas, but you can't move nowhere after a fight. I don't care whether I'm fighting him with gloves on the corner. It's sewn up. You don't go nowhere. It's nowhere to move. So if somebody gonna drive by in a white caddy and get away, man, come on, man. Don't talk to me about no fakeness, man. Let's talk on some seriousness, man. This ain't no gangbang thing. It ain't no gangbang thing. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. There's something way deeper than that. You're looking past what really's going on here. You know what I mean? You get it set up. You see east-west. Oh, that's the perfect alibi.
Right.
It's some east-west thing going on. We can easily come kill everybody. You're going to blame it on some gangbang thing. You ain't driving by on nothing in Vegas and disappearing into no desert after no fight. You can't move nowhere. You can't go across the street without a half an hour wait walking.
On that note, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to end this conversation.